Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. Welcome to all my loyal viewers and subscribers. Those abroad, those who are in Jamaica and those are in the diaspora. I want to welcome each and every new subscriber. Welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. So we continue the journey of the killing of these three men by Muscle, Penko, Liney, and a former police officer, Christopher Brother J. Yes, he used to work at Flying Squad, CIB headquarters. And this former police officer, he had to run from the work because he was a thief. Yes, I am saying that. As this is one of my tenets. I do not like thieving police. So he was a police officer who had to run away from the work because he was a thief. Yes, he was at Flying Squad and he had a detective acting Corporal Cole. Some guys from Southside, they went and committed a robbery, and they in turn, as police officer, robbed the robbers. And the robbers cursing and make noises, and that's how they had to run, leave the police work. And because the forces didn't want any embarrassment, they did not issue any warrant for them. But right now in 2022, that would be a total different thing. But that happened like 28 years ago. And this man he still hasn't changed his ways. This policeman is still former policeman. He's 52 and he's still involved in crime. Yes, the leopard never changed its spot. So when you're talking about giving people second and third chance, this is a man who was deported from Canada and migrated to the United States of America. He was deported from Canada, fingerprint and everything sent to Jamaica. But the Jamaican police, government, they give him a clean bill of health to migrate to the United States of America. And I know that he did not tell USCIS that he was deported from Canada because, on the immigration documents, you have to put that he ever been arrested. And I know that he put no, which is incorrect, and that's a lie. So, moving on. Errol Muscle Johnson, very dangerous, and Penko. And Christopher Brother J. Ebert and Liney Johnson. I know that most of you did not know that Adolf Hitler was a pioneer in creating laws to prevent cruelty to animals. He was also one of the first to label smoking as an unhealthy practice, and he built the Autobahn, Germany's most famous highway in the world during his time as leader of Germany. Whether or not you like his legacy, Adolf Hitler was a staunch, rabid racist, a warmonger, and led a campaign against the Jews that led to 6 million of their people being murdered in various ways by him in gas chambers and some awful way for human beings to be killed. In addition to starting wars, yes, this man, he was a warmonger. In addition to starting a war that killed 49 million people, one man is responsible for killing over 49 million people. That's Adolf Hitler. And the figure is an estimate. Because, back then they did not have any, accurate numbers, statistic, being written down. And you might be so where you going with this, Mr. P? Well, as I can say, Mr. Porter here, the reason why I'm doing that, I am just give you an eye into the life of so-called Dons, because people think that Dons, are nice people. These are people who are come to prominence not because no one voted for them, but through sheer terror. And the reason why I'm saying this is to counter the argument by the woke activists them at Jamaica for Justice and the likes, and people who are from the Ghetto University of the West Indies, that Dons have a place in our communities, which I am going to expose their narrative that they have been selling unicorn meat according to Sir P at Politics Watch, and nothing else, and should not buy the same. So don't buy the unicorn meat that they're selling you, telling you about Dons have place in our society. Dons don't have no place in our society. You saw the photos of two of the men who was involved in the killing of 3 men. And there are other people, but I am just focusing on these men because these men were prominent people within the Kingston metropolitan area, and especially especially Bitty, who was friends with these men that planned and killed him, and then passed on one of the guns that killed Owen Rifle Clark and Alphonse Ronnie British Harriet to Leroy Tommy Lee Sparta, otherwise known as Leroy Russell, for him to be arrested and charged with murder of these men. So what these criminals have done, they kill Rifle with the pistol, and then they pass it on to Tommy Lee Sparta. And then they are the same one, who call Crime Stat, and set up Tommy Lee Sparta, and then the police held him with the gun because they want to take all of the focus from York Avenue, Cockburn Pen, because everyone in the Kingston metropolitan area of Jamaica know that the people who killed Owen Rifle Clark and one of the British were from York Avenue, and they know it was Penco. Penco is the real cynic because one of the British had spoken to him at Rifle's funeral, thinking that that this man, I'm not gonna call the person who's friends with Wani, and he's friends with Penco. So Wani thought, thinking that this man and his friend is friends, so he could talk to him, because they wanted justice or Rifle. You understand? So many people are quick to point out that the criminal dons are an efficient control mechanism against crime and criminality in high crime zones, and the existence of these unofficial government members or area leaders are vital in running of these communities. Remember, I always telling you about these unelected officials, that these are the dons, and nobody elect them, but they are the one that start, govern community, and it's a power thing. Everything that they have been selling is unicorn, because dons are not law-abiding citizens, but people who have been risen to prominence and control of their communities through brutality. And most of the time, it started from their communities. One of the men that Errol Muscle Johnson replaced as Don of Gully, York Avenue, Cockburn Pen, Kingston 11 is called Bitty Hines, who has killed many people from his community. Yes, I have arrested Carl Bitty Hines. And the people from York Avenue would remember. It was Esther Nelson and myself and Christopher Stone that were, when I got the information, because I was investigating a case of murder. And surprisingly, it was a mob that came down. But guess what? They knew before, the kind of detective I was. The same people in Cockburn Pen, because I arrested a guy by the name of Squire a few years before, and it was the same modus operandi where people came down and, Bobby Reds and we had to fire shots, and I arrested about 8 of them, and 8 of them end up with criminal conviction because I arrested and charged them for attempt to pervert the course of justice, and I threw the book at them. And all of them, they end up with criminal conviction. So you give them criminal records. But, so when I arrested Bitty then, the crowd came down and surprised, and what's his name, Gowes, one knew very well, and his father, Babe, because Babe and my father are friends. When I say friend, they are friends, because Babe live in Waterford, that Raymond's father, Gowes. And when Elder and to Bitty and they told the people them to shut up and quiet, let us quiet, and we drove off with him and take him to Huntsby. As I say, I know Galway's before I was police, because his father Babes and my father are friends. Cockburn Pen is an area that, as I have stated before I was even a police officer, because of Oni and Carlos and others. You understand? So Bitty, Carl Bitty Hines, he has killed many people. Yes. And I knew that he killed August, who was the son of a woman named Opie, and he later killed Opie too, along Mawo Drive. Yeah, Bitty killed Opie, that's a woman, You understand? You know, and that was close to Mustard Seed, where she operated a stall in the late 1990s. It is true that during Carl Bitty Hines in York Avenue, Sivrite Gardens, Kingston level, there were lower reported cases of crime in that part of the Huntsville police area, especially bus robberies and break-ins. You know, breaking people house and rape and stuff like that. You know, which were done by men from the Majestic Gardens back to Kingston 11 area. Even at one time, two men from Backto came, you know, in Cockburn Pen, breaking a house, and I can tell you that they, you know, they dealt with them, you know, they kill them, burn them, and they leave the guns and tag them in the gully. Yes, you know, that was done by, and we know who were the killers, but because they were, you have to understand how police operate in it. Like in a case like that, where criminals kill criminals and let you get the guns and stuff like that, because those men were criminals, and criminals kill them. Case solved. So you know who killed them, but you understand, it is the only thing that you could do as a police officer is try to get evidence to arrest and charge them for the murder. But it's gonna be an uphill task. And you as a detective and somebody who have a conscience, you're like those two men who were killed. They were parasites. So I am telling you from my personal point of view, you don't even want to interview the killers, because justice has been done. That's how it is, whether you want to believe it. Because when criminals kill, when gunmen kill other gunmen, it's easier for you as the police, because the police did not to kill them, so nobody will block roads, you know, because these gunmen kill them. If it was the police that killed both men from Backto, you understand, it would be a total different song, so different music. So the police welcome that. You know, criminal kill them, you get the guns them, case solved. You understand? So, you know, that's how criminals operate, as you know, and that was one of his strong point in protecting his community. Bitty would be the de facto government official who would pass on information onto us. Yes, all Dans are informer, you know, you have to understand that, because for Dan to maintain his power within the orbit of the community, he has to provide information to the police about even his rivals and stuff, because the Dans, you know, they always have moles, you know, and informers within the next gang that they're warring with. So they provide information because they want the police, you know, to get rid of their competitors. That's how it is, you know. Most people don't understand the inner works of how these people operate. You know, so the police as to who are the troublemakers in the area. So, you know, that's what these Dans operate closely with the police by providing information. Sometimes the Dans mislead the police too, you know. But when they mislead the police, they are, you know, in my time, there are serious consequences for that. You understand? We know that the Dans them, they are criminals and all are dishonest people, but when they're talking to us, they have to be honest when it comes down to other criminals. They will tell you the truth about them, but they're not going to tell you the truth about themselves or their cronies. To believe that these Dans, including Errol Muscle Johnson and his son Lionel Johnson, Penko, and Christopher Ibert's brother Jay, are some law-abiding citizens, and here are some of the reasons persons with this view should consider. First, there's a significant variance between reported crime and actual crime. The police would report to the police hierarchy and the nation about how many crimes were committed for the fiscal year and stuff like that. Now that Errol Muscle Johnson and his son Lionel Johnson, Penko, and Police Chris are the Dans that control the community, there is a plethora of crimes committed by them to secure their power that is never reported. Remember that Carl Bitty Hines was the Don before these men, along with Penko, killed him and blamed Owen Ryphone Clark because there was a disagreement with them as to what he must do to satisfy these men's egos, or else blood was imminent. So these people, you have to understand how Dans operate, criminals, there's no honest criminals, if so anyone who's involved in crime and think that the person that who's sitting beside you is your friend, you better think again, because you have to understand that the first trait of a criminal, you have to be dishonest. So if you think that the next person you are sitting beside and planning out what to do, you have another guest coming. Because remember, it's a dark world, criminals are dishonest people. So if you think that a criminal is honest, something is wrong with you. You understand? So while Bitty was crying for peace, after Rifle's son and his friend had killed Tulu, Muscle, Penko, Liney, and Police Chris want blood and pretend they wanted false blood. So they were pretending they wanted false blood, but it's not really false blood they really wanted, They wanted to kill Bitty to get Bitty's status in the community, because Bitty, as it done around by Gully and York Avenue, the people respected him. So they appreciate his presence. So Bitty could not come to himself to kill Rifle. They have numerous meetings around there, discussion how to kill Rifle and stuff like that. And every time it came up in the conversation to kill him, Bitty could not come to himself to kill Rifle, because he said that when he was in England, it was Rifle who gave him everything he needed there to make money and make millions before he was arrested and charged in Sheffield and went to prison. Because of Bitty's loyalty to Rifle and those who hated Rifle, because he should be taking care of everyone, every Cockburn Pen resident who did not want to work. So it's straight bad mind. So he was marked for death, and one person was in the way, and it was Bitty. And they decided to get rid of Bitty and cried and mourned his death when they are the perpetrator of this dastardly act. These range from assaults to homicides, where the bodies are never found and the families dare not report them missing. So to believe that there is no crime is a misnomer, as these men are some of the most unconscionable human beings. Yeah, so that is part 2, of the killing of Carl Bitty Hines, Owen Rifle Clark, and Alfonso Wanny British Harriet by Errol Muscle Johnson, his son Lionel Liney Johnson, Christopher Brother J. Ebert, a former police officer, and Penko. I'll give you Penko full names and you'll get his photograph very shortly. He's a hardened criminal too, Penko is a snake. So, as you have heard, that these men, based on information received and obtained, because this has been, it's over 3 years, but we normally don't run with things, because as detective you have to make sure that everything that you have, all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. So that's what we'll make sure that we have done. So we have to break it right here. No disrespect to our audience, but we know that most people, attention spans are like goldfishes. Be honest. How many of you have looked at your phone or start to do something else whilst reading the facets of the so-called Dons who rise to prominence through brutality? Yes. Based on scientific experiment, it proves that most human attention span has been declining slowly from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8 seconds in recent years. The average user's attention span in 2022 is just 8 seconds, which is a little better than a goldfish. So we have to pause here, not to bore the audience with too much information. As you have heard and listened, Carl Bitty Hines did not want to kill Rifle because the wealth that he had, all the money that he had made when he was in England, he said that it wasn't for Rifle, he would not have that amount of money. So because of that, he could not come to terms with himself to kill the man. But the others who surrounded the hierarchy in the criminal world around there, they did not want that. They wanted Rifle's head. So the only person that standing in the way was Bitty, so that's why they killed him. But in part 3, you're going to hear how Penko killed Jaja and all kind of thing, because these are criminals, you know. Penko reign of terror is coming close to an end, all of these men. Because I know that Bitty family now, when they realize that it's them same one kill Bitty, because even Bitty mother, you know, that you know me, you know, when they find out now, these are the same man that killed their family member, you think that they're gonna believe them? They're not gonna believe them, because they know that there's no honest criminals. So Jamaica Young Police channel out. We'll follow up with the other part of this.